Now, having shown the optimality condition for the provision of a public good, we now look at what happens when the public good is privately provided, and we show the inefficiency of a situation where each consumer chooses how much to buy of this public good. So we consider a situation where the consumer takes as given what the other consumers are choosing to purchase, to buy of this public good, and we assume that the market price of the public good is P star. So for each consumer, the optimization problem is to maximize the level, right? Try to find the level to consume so as to maximize the utility derived. But you're deriving utility not just what you're buying, but also what all the other consumers are buying, because it's a public good and they cannot exclude you. So you're deriving utility from the level being produced overall in the economy. So we're looking at the sum of what the other parties are consuming. So we can call this the X star for each person, with K being different from I. So we're looking at all these other consumers. We're maximizing all of this less the cost for person I of actually purchasing this good. So what is the first order condition? So we get phi prime of I. Again, taking everything inside here, the sum of everything being purchased, less P star, and that must be equal to 0 if we're looking at an interior solution where xi must be strictly positive. Now you'll note what is inside here, what consumer I is purchasing plus what all the other consumers are purchasing, that must add up to X star. So we can call this X star here, which is the total level of public good in the economy. So the first order condition becomes that phi prime of X star is equal to P star. This is the first order condition for the consumers. So let's take a look at the firm's problem, which is to maximize the revenue less the cost of providing this public good. So the first order condition here is simply P star less the marginal cost of providing the good, and assuming an interior solution, this is equal to 0. In a competitive equilibrium, of course, Q star is equal to X star. The markets are clearing. Whatever the firm produces is being purchased by consumers. So looking at the consumer's first order condition, which we've already derived, we have the marginal utility of each consumer being equal to P star, and the first order condition that we've now derived is that the marginal cost of providing the good is equal to P star, and that's the firm's first order condition. So we can now put the two together. So for each consumer, we're going to have the marginal utility equal to marginal cost of producing the public good. So if we sum it up for all consumers in the economy, we get the following requirement. And this is with private production. But if you remember, the optimal provision condition that we've already derived in a prior tutorial was that the sum of all marginal utilities less the marginal cost was equal to 0. So these are not the same. These two conditions are only similar when there is only one, are only equivalent when there is only one consumer in the economy, and otherwise we see that the private provision of public good here will not yield an optimal provision of the public good. In fact, what will happen is that the consumer with the consumer who derives the most utility from the public good will end up paying for the entirety of the provision of the public good, and everybody else will be a free rider. So the issue here is one of free riders in terms of the inefficiency of the private provision.